Hey, Brandon here, and today we're looking at a brand new feature in Google Sheets that allows you to easily apply structure as well as bring additional functionality to data that you already have in Google Sheets. Specifically, we're going to look at using the convert to table function as well as using some of the smart chips to bring some standardization to the data that you have and be able to open up a bunch of different opportunities with that. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got a sheet here that probably looks really familiar to you. In fact, most of the data that's sitting in Sheets is not complex financial formula backed data tables. It's really this. It's inventories, it's project tracking, it's planning for content publication. It's all of these different things that we use because spreadsheets are laid out in a linear format and it just makes sense. And so when we're talking about data like that, the more structure that we can apply to it, the more opportunities we have to be able to view it in different ways, as well as import it into things like Looker Studio or build dashboards or something like that. So we've got a sheet that should look pretty familiar. You all probably have these sitting in yours. I've got a couple of different columns. I've got priority, high, medium, and low. I've got issue, I've got status, in process, not yet started, in process, completed, on hold. I've got action officer listed in here by email address, and I've got start date, due date, and notes. So nothing whiz bang about this, but let's convert it to a table. So if I select all of the data and I go up to format, you'll see that there's an option to convert to table. Now, in your system, there may be a little green button that says new in there. After you use it a couple of times, that goes away. But if I click convert to table, you can see that it's done a couple of different things. It froze the top it froze the top column and added a table one column row on top of that. It also allowed for some drop down options so that you could view the data differently. It also applied an alternating background color scheme that just makes it easier to read. And so, all right, so we've already got a good start here. Let's go through a couple of different elements. If I click on table 1, up at the top, you can rename it, you can adjust the range, you can turn off the alternating colors, but you can also customize the table colors if you want a different color scheme, or you can also revert it, right? But where it gets cool is underneath there. So each of the columns you'll see has that drop down charrette, and it's the same for each. And so it makes it really easy, one, to edit the column type. So in this, right, you've got a number of different options. You've got number, text, date, drop down, checkbox, smart chips. So in this case, since we have a high, medium, and low, and we're going to be adding new rows into that, I want this to be a drop down. So if I click that, automatically that applied the high, medium, and low, and I could go in and edit that and apply colors if I wanted to. Issue on this one, edit the column, we're just going to keep that as text. Okay. On the status, again, we're going to do the drop down. Okay, so that's in process. And this is where on the right-hand side, when you apply the new format, this is where you can actually apply the color schemes. So I'll just throw in a couple here and on hold. There we go. There we go. Okay, and you can see that it applied the color schemes here. Now under Action Officer, I'm going to want to set up the column type a little bit different because I want to use a smart chip, and because I have the email in there, I'm going to select People. So what that did is it applied the People chip, which I'll show you. Once you have that applied, if you hover over that, you can actually directly interact with it to be able to send an email. This is obviously my email, so I'm not sending a chat or starting a meet, but you can also set up a calendar event. I can add a name pronunciation since it's mine, but I can also open a detailed view, and this goes into contact details, and will show you reports, recent interactions, and that kind of thing. So just a little bit more functionality out of the identification. So on the start date, we're going to go ahead and apply a date. And that just allows us to be able to apply a standard date so that if we pull it into things like Looker Studio, or we want to create a timeline chart, it just makes sure that all of the data that goes in here is actually structured. So we've looked at the actual data column types. Now, once we've actually selected those column types, which kind of helps it be standard as we go forward, here you can start to sort the column. You can quickly apply filters. You can group by column. So here, since I have high, medium, and low, I want to actually view this data according to that structure. So I'm going to group by column, and you can see that it came in here and does priority high, priority low, priority medium, and priority blanks. So that allows me to be able to view it. I can save the view if I wanted to come back to it. But it allows me to be able to manipulate or view the data in some different ways. And you can do that by any of them. If it was by action officer or it was by status, that would allow you to kind of view that data in a different way. Obviously, you can also insert columns and stuff like that. So once you have this set up in a tabular format, it makes it really easy to be able to export the data and just have greater consistency going forward. So I hope that helps. Play around with it, and I think it's pretty cool. Later.